evening, everyone. Good evening,
Hello.
Charlene, and good evening, Quizboard Train. I see you're driving home. Drive safe. And with me today is an old friend of mine, Isa Martel. How are you doing, Isa?
Good. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Long day, but all good.
Yeah, I forget it's like nighttime where you're at,
Yeah, just 9, so I'll be okay.
huh? Yeah, that's good. Glad to be here.
Right, so we met through our mutual interest in hitting people with things and hitting things with people, but that's not why we're here today. We're just here to talk about gaming. So, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself before we start?
Yeah, sure. So my name's East Martel,
Isa,
and
sorry.
I met like Carl.
Uh,
Yeah,
I always mess up the
like
pronunciation. I'm really sorry about that.
oh, that's all right. Um, like Carl said, we met doing like some sword stuff, but I also happen to play a bunch of games and do a bunch of gaming, and I do that um, with my main thing, I guess, is Warhammer 40K or Warhammer things in general. But I also do like an old D&D campaign, and that's it, I guess. With regards to gaming, those are what we do now.
Okay, 1 second. Hi, Cross, and oh, hi, Bruce. It might be me, but you have some strange echo going on. Is anyone else hearing that? Just let us know. We'll try to fix it on the fly. So, yeah, you're talking about Warhammer 40K. Which edition do you play? The latest, or do you still?
Um, yeah, so pretty much I played every edition. So uh, and been playing for a long time. And we started back initially we started with Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So this was probably like in like 1988 or something.
Whoa,
It
all right.
was like yeah, it was like a while ago. So it was like
88.
in our
88 would have
yeah,
been third edition. Yeah, it's like,
I think so. Yeah, it
wow,
was
all
the
right.
big hardcover book. Yeah. So that's what we started on. My friend in school, we were freshmen in high school, but he played with his dad. So his dad was this old Vietnam vet who got hit, who must have learned Warhammer somewhere, and then like he played it with his kid. So when I met my friend George, he was like, "Yeah, we played this game Warhammer," and I was like, "What is this?" And it was like I said, it was old fantasy battle, and I was like, man, this is awesome. So we played fantasy battle for a while, and in that time, we also did some role playing games, like Shadowrun at the time was kind of big, and D&D, of course, and also, yeah, I forgot what else. But in any case, with the Warhammer, um, we switched like 40K came out with Rogue Trader, and I met another friend who was into that. And basically I was like, okay, let me try this. In Fantasy Battle, I had this huge high alpha army, and then so it naturally evolved to me having like Eldar for or 40K. But I
Okay.
do like other stuff too. But
Let me bring up
it
some of
took off
your
then from there.
let me bring up some of your painted miniatures. In the meantime,
Yeah, sure.
hi Lisa and hi Sean. Good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do have like yeah, I do have other aspects, and we can like talk about like stuff as we get to it.
Okay.
Um
So you definitely have more painted 40K miniatures than I do.
yeah, so this is probably the latest of the guys. This is my I decided to make a Corsair uh army, and it's kind of like the real Eldar pirates. So I've made this guy, he's like a couple different pieces from a different bunch of models. and he's like the Corsair Prince now.
Okay, and I see that you've
He
also
came
been
up
working on the bases over there.
the base. Oh yeah, so this base here though, that's an actual resin base. I found some guy on Etsy, I think,
All right.
and he like made these resin bases. I mean, they're totally cool. That's like even the black part is part of the base. It's like a
Ah, okay.
whole.
So it's not a base topper. It's
He
actually one
must
solid
sculpt them.
base. All right.
Yeah, it's one solid thing. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I found them on eBay, and I bought for my Titan. I actually bought the base from him, but in addition, he sent all these like cool free sample bases too. So I got like a bunch of little
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was totally cool. It was awesome. So that's what this one is. This one is actually a resin base, but it looks pretty cool. I think it came out pretty neat.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the details on the rest of it look awesome. I mean, all those little jewels.
Yeah, I actually used that. So along when I first started, I tried to paint those, but then for this, I found out that the Games Workshop makes like this technical paint,
Mm-hmm.
and you paint it over metallic, and that's what it looks like. So
All right.
that's just like one coat of this. It's called technical paint, and I never knew that's what it did. And then I actually was reading some article, and they were like, "Yeah, this is how you use it. You just paint it a metallic color, and then paint over it, and it has that glossiness and everything.
Ah,
So it
okay,
came
so
out pretty cool.
so it's not the typical. Okay, first you paint it black, and then you paint a little bit in blue or green or whatever. Then you put a little white highlight dot. Oh man, that's useful.
Yeah, I that's what I used to do, and I was like, "This sucks." So, so when I saw that this other product came out and tried it, I was like, "Man, this looks freaking awesome!" And it's super quick too. You're just like,
Yeah, I can
go
imagine.
through.
Just I'm just thinking of how long it would take to paint the just the reflections on all of those.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's my kind of like the latest guy, and the guys I'm painting now are in this black and yellow and red scheme.
Okay, same guy,
That's
yeah.
just him from the side. Yeah.
So let's see. Do you
Yeah.
have
Okay. Here's my other another good
again a big
altar.
imposing base?
Yeah. So this was here's like a little tale of Eldar. I had originally had this huge different army, like Biltan is the craft world, and they're red or they're green and white. And I went and lived overseas in like 2005. So I had sold my whole Eldar army when I moved over there. So when I moved back to the US, this was now in like 2009. I the first job I had was overnight, and I wanted something to do at night, so I bought a couple Eldar figures, and it led to me having this like insane like army now where I have like a Titan, like four Wraith Knights, like a crap ton of guys. But in any case, this guy was like the first autarch of now the current guys I made, and the theme of like the craft world is that like they're kind of like pirates on the fringe of society and stuff. So
All right.
this is like the sword is from a harlequin, like the arm and the sword is from like a harlequin. The left arm is actually a Eldar power glove, which is from the Rogue Trader era Eldar. They
Oh
have these
no.
sprues of like
S- So this arm is literally an antique.
yes.
Whoa.
And the backpack is from Forge World. They used to have, yeah, there's the arm there. That's why I took this side picture. So if anybody is like that nerdy of a diehard Eldar fan, they'll actually know that that's the Eldar Power Glove
It
from
belongs in a
Rogue Trader.
museum.
And then his backpack is actually like an Eldar jump pack, which they don't make those anymore either. So he's kind of like a cool thing. And then the base here, I made this base though. This is like kind of when I started to experiment on. I wanted like I view them like these are all the characters, so I kind of view them as like big chess pieces. Like
Uh-huh.
you want to be like,
You want them to be
you know,
more imposing.
Yeah. So the bases I started with like styrofoam.
Hmm.
So I just like cut like a piece of styrofoam or so or two and glue it on. Then I'll cover it with like light spackle or um so like cover the whole thing and that'll give it the texture and that'll allow you to like paint on this like if you spray paint it you can spray paint the styrofoam
Hmm.
then once you have spackling over it. Otherwise the spray paint will eat the styrofoam
Yep.
generally.
That has happened to me a couple of times. Yes.
Yeah, well, here's the tip. If you spackle it first, that won't happen. And it'll give you like this cool texture. And then also sometimes I'll glue on like other bits of texture and then pretty much just dry brush it, put some like wash colors and stuff and dry brushing it. And then I'll put that like bits of grass on it too. So he was like kind of like the first guy to like start this process. So he's kind of special to me. And he's the only one I put like the diamonds on the arm because in like
The
the
diamonds
old
on the arm.
Eldar, or I tried to.
Oh,
You
these
see
ones.
it
Yeah.
like on his
Yeah. They
yeah,
do look good,
so
especially in this picture.
yeah. Um because like in the old one of the old editions of the Eldar book, when it shows like the Luganith Guardian, his one arm is checkered like that. So I figured, all right, well, if you know, it's like a cool thing since that's like he's holding the Harlequin sword there and stuff too. So
Yeah, I remember that back in the day, at beginning of the 90s, I think, late 80s, beginning of the 90s, most Games Workshop stuff used to have these diamond patterns on them. Literally everything.
yeah,
Even if
I
it
mean,
was, yeah,
yeah, like on their lay, I'm not that good. So my Harlequins don't. When I chose, I have Harlequins too, but I chose like a Harlequin troop that doesn't use the diamonds.
yeah, they're more sensibly attired Harlequins.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 second. I'm just going to drop the link to the community showcase if anyone wants to drop some stuff in Discord later. And hello, Palpatilia. Good to see you. Hi, Loosely Collected. And hello, Earthman Brick. Good to see you. So let's see. Ah, speaking of Harlequins, here we go.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Here's the Harlequin. So this guy is though. So they're called the Frozen Stars. That's what this Harlequin troop with the black and the white are. He was my troop master. In the last edition, you can also like upgrade your troop master, like your general, to be the Great Harlequin, which was a model they used to make like back in Rogue Trader and stuff. But when they
They used to make
remade
it.
the yeah
All right.
yeah they had like a Great Harlequin guy who would be like the highest, you know, like the highest ranking member of the
Yeah,
troop.
I never
But when
saw
they
the.
brought out
I'm sorry.
when
Yes.
they brought out yeah when they brought out when they redid the Harlequins, they didn't have a great Harlequin. So it like kind of ends with like a troop master. There's nothing higher. But they had last edition of Warhammer, they had like a upgrade card that you can get and make you a troop master the Great Harlequin. So in any case, he's my troop master general for my Harlequin army, but I made this super cool base for him out of like Eldar bits. Like he's like leaping and flying around.
Yes,
You
and
can
the
see
blade
there's
there.
some bullets.
Yeah,
Like I drilled the hole in the
and the
skull
skull. Yeah.
with that bullet. I think if you rotate the mask, there's like a Harlequin mask next to that that has like a hole in the head too. I
Here,
don't know if you could see it, but
uh,
yeah, you can see it a little bit there. Like that's the mask that was on the skull.
this one.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So yeah,
Ooh, I
the
like this
back
pattern.
that back piece. Oh yeah, so this was I on Games Workshop. I noticed they like try to make these like diamond patterns like that aren't the symmetrical ones, but that they're like floating. So I tried it here. It came out all right.
I think if I remember correctly, in the lore, the Harlequins have these holographic coats or something that just make them
Yeah, yeah,
very confusing to look at them when they're moving. And I think this is
yeah.
a good way
That's
of
what they
showing
all
it.
have. Yeah, thanks. I think it's pretty cool looking.
I only remember the Harlequins from the second edition, and just looking at their stats and their equipment, it's like, hey, these people will mess you up.
Yeah, they're still pretty much like that. Um, so they're still pretty vicious. This piece, like that's on the back, this Eldar thing, that actually, if you buy like one of the big Eldar Wraith Knights, that's the sword bit from it.
Holy crap! All right.
Since yeah, that's so the top of it's kind of like where the kind of going to the handle of the sword, and the blade is like the part that's in the ground. But I had an extra one, so I was like, okay, let's try to make some cool Eldar looking building piece, which we hardly see, and they don't really make any terrain that has that looks Eldar in Alien as opposed to
It's a
like
very specific
humans.
look, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I think too. So I when you see people do try to make it, it kind of looks like more, I don't know, like Elven, I guess, than
Yeah.
Eldar. So I don't know how they you're right. I don't know it. You're right. It does have a specific look, and I don't know how to achieve that look.
Uh, Campaign Terrain is saying, "What a great, if gruesome detail." I'm guessing he's talking about the skull with the and the mask with the bullet hole.
Yeah, thanks. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. I try to make everything like have some sort of weird little story.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah.
Do you have any problems? Because I know, if I remember correctly, the height of the miniature is actual height. So if you can spot the miniature over cover, then they can still be targeted and so on. Do you have any problems with that? Because these are a bit taller than the.
Oh no, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like your style.
Yeah. So this was the solitaire. Oh, it looks like it was dusty. I should have dusted him.
Nah, it
Um,
has character.
but yeah. So I painted him a while ago. I thought about doing another one, or maybe just kind of like updating him. Because I think like the collar, I can probably like put like make it more purpley now, and I don't know, maybe add some more highlights. But here he has that diamonds on his cloak there.
Hmm. They're
That's
modeled in,
like
yeah.
a bit that like you can glue on. So that's to simulate that, like I guess camouflage. He's coming out the hologram. So this was a pretty cool base. That back, the model comes with the bit that see his sash is touching that
Hmm.
bit there. So that bit is actually part of the model. But then I added that secondary piece of that looks like a tombstone there
Hmm.
behind him.
Over here.
That area, yeah, that was a bit of scenery that comes with like a Wraith Lord or something. So I kind of sculpted this space just to look like that, and I thought that would kind of look cool there and give it some Eldar ruins.
I think
I
it
started
was.
really getting into, go ahead, I'm
Please.
sorry. And it kind of balances out too, I think. Like I try to use the base also to balance out like the like aesthetics, I guess, of the
Yeah, I was going
model.
to say I really like the composition of this.
Yeah. So it looks like he like leaped over that,
Yeah.
like it kind of gives it that like I'm coming. And he does like some insane amount of attacks and everything. He's like the ultra killer, like the solitaire.
Yeah, again, I remember the second edition stat block, not the latest one, but they were also people you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. These I made. You don't need them anymore, but a couple editions ago, you needed to have objective markers. So these are the objective markers from when you needed to have three when you entered a tournament or something. I think they're on 40 millimeter bases, and they're basically like leftover tank bits. Those two discs for the two that have the
Okay, yeah.
tall things, the two discs are like from like wave serpents, they would be the top but piece, but I got an alternate pieces, so I had these extra ones. So it kind of looks like a hovering thing, and then those are just bits from guns and other, like that's a tank
What about this
barrel
crystal thing
there.
and stuff?
So that's a crystal that comes with the fire prism now.
All
That's
right.
actually the prism cannon right there. That's actually the whole
All right.
cannon I just cut off and like glued vertically. And then I taught my wife how to dry brush by she painted all these. So it's totally just dry brush. The whole thing is just like dry brush, but they came out pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, dry
And
brush works.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
And for objective markers, I think they're pretty neat. Like I was like, I want like Eldar objective markers.
Yeah, I mean, look, most of the games I've played had just a piece of cardboard with objective written on it, so these are a definite improvement.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Thanks.
And loosely collected is saying shelf dust is free weathering. Yeah, yep, that's what it is.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here's
Yeah.
some cool. Yeah, so I try to have like I think very much in the aesthetics of like squadrons and how they have to look when they're like squatted up and stuff. So these are Vipers. I painted them maybe like 2 years ago. So they were for the last edition. I'm gonna change their bases to be oval bases on the bikes that I started making now. I have oval bases on them. I think they look better. Um, yeah, but these were cool. They're not the most optimal loadout some people would complain about now, but when I make an army, I try to have like varied stuff in it, and I use these in a certain way where they have two star cannons and a missile launcher. The guys with the half canopies, those half canopies are Dark Eldar canopies,
All right.
um, and those ones have the star cannons, and then the one in the center with the full canopy, he has like the missile launcher. Because I kind of viewed it like I don't know, like if he has the missile launcher, it just fits like it's a different weapon, like it's more of a heavier weapon. So he needs the canopy,
You know, with
where
all
the
this
other guys are
smoke and
like,
stuff. Yeah.
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 So who
Okay.
knows? The other
It
guys
works.
are like, yeah, got these little star cannons. So, but they are pretty cool. I use these pretty much in every game too. And now, if you're an Eldar fan, they like people are like, yeah, we got to take Vipers if you follow like that meta, the Eldar meta.
Do you play what you see is what you get, or do you prefer to just okay,
Oh
nope, I
yeah,
play.
no, for me, no, for me, it's everything is what you see is what you get. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally don't have the
Yeah.
patience for that. So basically, when I was putting together my Blood Angels, it was like, what looks coolest?
Yeah. Well, I don't mind you not playing that way, like because I don't magnetize those guns, so those guns are glued on. So that's it. I kind of make the squadron or whatever I'm
Hmm.
making to be this, and it'll function in this specific way. I know that doesn't help, over the course of the editions because things will change, but I tend to play the same way and use the like I just try to make my army work however the edition changes. And my army's so big from playing so long that I can pretty much take whatever. I'm not like limited by I don't have this model or something like this.
I don't know if they're making any big sweeping changes recently, but I think the biggest changes I remember were from second to third edition when they said, okay, nope,
Yeah,
all of these
yeah.
things are totally valid now. And then like, all right, I just keep playing second edition.
Yeah, that's what they just did with this last one, 10th edition that came out in the summer. Um, they did that same reset and like
Yeah.
changed like the stat line and everything. They made it like simpler. They kind of just like fixed instead of having people have to figure out a lot of stuff like okay, you would get two attacks with this weapon or something. They kind of simplified it in a good way in that way. Okay, so here's the fire prism.
Ooh, pretty.
Um, so you can see there's that actual barrel right there.
Yeah.
That's of the bit, yeah, because I had I bought a bunch of tanks and made them differently, but yeah, so that's the tank barrel. All the vehicles in this Luganith army have this. I made this vehicle pattern kind of with the arrow pointing thing like that. Um, and then it kind of kept them all looking the same. So you can see like the white band, that was like the back of the Vipers. Um, the reason I didn't put a band like that on the Vipers, because see, it's so wide, it would look weird. So I
I
kind of
get you.
made it like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
the uh, that's why it's just like the back part, and it's
I,
like a nice wide back white piece.
yeah, I think this game looks really badass.
Here it is, yeah. This the thing when it's on is a battle mat I got. So I was like, okay. The I'm really happy with it too. It's like a pretty pretty good mat.
Where'd you get it from? Is it? Uh,
Frontline Gaming,
all right.
I think. Here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard good things about them.
yeah. I got I have a collapsible, I got their collapsible table too, gaming table. It's
All
like a
right.
big folding table. I highly recommend that. It's kind of like a little bit pricey, but I think it's worth it.
Oh, I really like the
So
effect on
that
the
to
seal.
get that, yeah, so that was like a piece of plastic like that went inside there.
Hmm.
Um, and I noticed it was like two pieces like you glue together. So I tried to paint the inside of it, to give it like that some sort of effect or something.
Okay, so is it transparent to begin with, and then you paint it on the?
Yeah, it's
Oh, all
transparent.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the tip. So when you buy this tank, it comes with like the canopy is transparent. It comes with that gem, and then it comes with the tip of the cannon that are like three transparent plastic pieces.
Did you mask them or paint them separately, or how do you go about it?
Um, no, you know what? I half my miniatures I don't even like seal coat because I have like such fear of the seal coating that it's gonna like change I like the colors with white and stuff. I don't know. So I'm
Ah,
I'm
okay.
always like skeptical to like when you spray it, I'm
Yep.
always real like hesitant. Um but this one I think I did spray and I just cover that piece. I sprayed it after it's built, so I just like covered the pieces that I don't want to get
Makes
fogged
sense.
out.
So let's see. Ooh, all right.
Okay, so here's a wave serpent. So I put this one in because it doesn't have a turret, like a turret with a cockpit in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see like I kept that white band on that, like the base of the missile launcher turret there.
Yeah.
Um, and then the pattern's the same. I noticed though when I was doing this, I don't think I painted the canopy there. When I took the picture, I was like, oh, I guess I never painted that, like the bars on the canopy.
Yeah, I see them. I see them.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So but yeah, so this is with has bits from Forge World. Back in the day, they used to make this is actually called the Wave Serpent Mark II because it has that fin on the back. If you buy the Wave Serpent from Games Workshop, just the basic kit. It doesn't have that fin, that tail piece flared out at the top of the picture, which is like the back that's covering the cargo, like the ramp or the door
Mm-hmm.
to get in it. The Games Workshop one just like kind of ends smoothly, but Forge World made these like Mark II versions, and it was basically just like a bunch of bits. Like the turret for this is the Mark II turret also, and then it came with the turrets, the back fin piece, bits to extend the sides, and it came with like a base of the turret, which is how I had extra bases to make those
Ah,
that
okay. Yeah.
scenery, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. I'll be honest. Some of the Forge World stuff looks interesting, but I don't know how it was when you bought back when you bought this. But their prices are yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with them. And now like people have been 3D printing like the
Hmm.
like all these pieces. So if you can find it, um, I totally think it's like worth it. So those guys there, here I decided this is the old Guardians. They just made an updated kit. But I had decided it'd be cool to have like the heavy weapons team like together on all one base, kind of like the Imperial
Hmm.
Guard do. So my Guardian squads, the Guardian Defenders, I put them all three. Whereas normally they're three separate bases, but I got tired of like just pushing around the Bright Lance on
Yeah.
the little platform that has its own little base. I was like, this is kind of dumb. Like nobody's ever standing by it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have like the people like controlling it,
Yeah,
you
that
know.
makes sense.
So see, he has actually a cord, like the new ones, I think they have more like a
Oh
remote
yeah.
control, but this guy, they had a cord that like you can actually put on the little groove there.
Is this the old plastic kit or the old metal kit?
Yeah, it's plastic. It's
All
plastic.
right, all right. Yeah, the cord is a really interesting detail. I hadn't noticed it.
Yeah, so if you didn't have him like standing next to the thing all the time, he looked like dumb, you know? So I was like, well, I'll just make a big base so he's like connected to it.
I mean, you could always say that he's
Um,
taking his invisible dog for a walk or something.
yeah. Someone said like, well, how do you keep, that's kind of stupid because when a guy dies, you can't like remove it. And I'm like, well, you can put like a counter
Yeah,
next to it, I'm like, come on.
you know, it's not, that's not the particular thing that will break your suspension of disbelief.
I know, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, so this is like I guess this is the new thing, the Crim or Sunblitz Brotherhood. That's the my new tank that I just built to go with that uh Corsair Prince, the yellow and black guy.
oh, I love
So
the
this I
texture on
wanted to have the
this
stippling.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I was like trying out with this was the stippling. And so I got it. I think it looks pretty cool. So on the jet bikes I'm making, I did it on the canopy and stuff of the jet bikes and other things too. But any other vehicles I'll have it on. And their symbol is this like crescent moon with spikes on it. They're highlighted in the old one of the Imperial armor books,
Okay.
the Doom of Mimera, and they like show their vehicles and they have these like patterns on. And so
Okay.
I thought it would be pretty cool.
The gems are done in the same way that you said earlier, because I think from
Yeah,
here, I think you
yeah,
can see the metallic under it. That yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, you can. Yeah.
And
So yeah, all the gems now are done this way.
all right, yeah, all right. I mean, I
And
like it.
then
It's efficient.
yeah, and then so I can tell you a little bit how I painted it. The red was like a base. I painted the whole tank with the yellow and the
Hmm.
stippling, and then I sketched like with a pencil on the moon pattern, and then painted
Yeah.
it like a dark red, and I did like a wash in the cracks and around the like where it gets mounds, and then I just kind of like blended it up a little bit to get some highlights with like a lighter red.
Right.
But this is actually the original Wave Serpent. So this is an old Forge World kit
Ooh,
to go along with my Corsair theme. I was like, you know what? They need to have like a old relicy Wave Serpent, so I used to have one of these, but when I sold the army originally, that one got sold. So I tracked one down and kind of combined a bunch of kits to get this. Like the back piece is a fin from like I was saying, like a different Forge World bit fin. The sensor array, like under the cockpit, is from the old version of the Fire Prism that had a big like metal crystal on it. That piece is metal. It was like the under part. the um, things there. So it was kind of cool. I think it came out really cool looking.
Absolutely. So how do you get this the stippling effect? Did you literally just put some paint on the brush and just go plink, 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 plink?
I at first what I did was I got I painted it all like the one base color, the darkest color.
Hmm.
And then I got um we call them elephant ear sponges, but I don't know if you might have a different name for them. They're
Mm,
like the sponges from the sea, like the real
okay.
sponges. Um, but you can probably use any sponge whatsoever. Um, and then I kind of just like like put the sponge in paint and kind of like tapped it off like you're gonna dry
All right.
brush it, and then I just started like tapping it around. And then I did like maybe like three different colors of the yellow, and then the brightest yellow that's on the edging, and you can see the dots. I used like a small dry brush and kind of just like
All right.
tapped it around to
That kind
kind
of makes
of
sense.
fill in. Yeah, like you can kind of fill in where one, it needs to be or whatever. But I think it came out really cool looking.
Oh, this is
And I,
amazing.
yeah, there were like a couple guys that were doing it on the Elder Facebook group, and the one guy does it in green, and the green looks like it looks so cool that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to try it. And in the Forge World book, like the photo of the Sunblitz Brotherhood, their vehicles look like they're stippled because they have like a bunch of colors like overlaid like that. It's not just like a flat color.
All right.
So I was like, all right, it'll if that's what it's supposed to look like, it'll look. I'll try. I was trying to like make it off that image. So yeah, I'm stoked for it to continue making these guys. And actually, the guy I don't know, but just this model here was the first one. The base, I used like these big magnetic bases. Um, you can't really see it,
Oh,
but
yeah. Okay.
it's under there. Yeah, you can see the base there. But I got them from Magnet Baron. They're pretty cool, and they were like actually like classified. Like, I mean, he's like this like online
All
seller
right.
that just sells magnets of all sorts of crazy sizes, but he has them like arranged in to um like different types of games and even like different types of models.
All right.
So
Yeah, that's good to know.
he had one that's yeah, he said he had one that was like labeled like the base for this like type of model. So the stem, it comes with like a really wide plastic stem, instead of the thin ones. It's like probably like a maybe like 3/4 of an inch in diameter.
What did you say it was
And then
called?
it has
Magnet?
the Magnet Baron, I think. The
Okay, I'm
Magnet
going to
Baron.
keep a note of that.
So it was cool. And then you get like a stem, and then you get magnets for each side, so you can like make the like magnet, you know what I mean, and then
Uh-huh.
take it off. And
Nice.
it was pretty cool, yeah.
Okay. Hi, go for it painting. Good to see you. I was talking to our guest last week, and we were saying how seeing some a tabletop full of miniatures, it just hits the playing with plastic toys buttons. But something like this just
Yeah.
makes me this just wants me to make spaceship noises and go pew 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 pew.
Oh yeah, I always do. Like when I'm painting, yeah, that's what's like kind of going on in my head when I'm painting. And I'll even like play with them like a toy and like fly them around, set my guys up. Just like yesterday when I was taking all these photos, I
Hmm.
had like a whole like war going on because it's all on the same table. You know what I mean? So I would
Oh
just
yeah.
like slide them over, it's your turn for the it's your turn for the photo,
You got to have fun.
yeah. So these guys here, yeah, if you want to look at so when even though I started with Eldar as like an army,
Hmm.
what got me into it was the Inquisition and the Grey Knights, like those old Grey Knight Inquisition models from Rogue Trader.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
So
remember
they
those.
had like a Grey Knight in Terminator power armor, and then they had like some Inquisitor in power in Terminator armor. That's what actually got me into 40K. That was like the hook. And then they didn't really have a lot of those models back then, and they were kind of just like something like a on the side thing or whatever. It's like the Inquisition. So my friend was playing Space Marines already, and that's what led me to start Eldar because I was like, all right, well, we don't want to have like two Space Marine armies. Our gaming group, whenever someone came in and started, kind of was like an unspoken law that you had to like start an army that nobody had yet. so, so we would have all the armies, you know. It was kind of like a thing. So anyway, so this is oh, I forget his name actually now, but he's the Death Watch captain of the third company of the Death Watch. And so I made Death Watch specifically. I have a Grey Knight army, excuse me, and I have the Death Watch army as well because they came with like an Elder box set like a couple years ago. Artemis, that's who
Alright.
it is. There's the name. Yeah, Captain Artemis. So he is pretty cool. Um,
A
you can
little
see I made the little base with the
alien skull
Tau.
on the
That's a
base, yeah.
Tau skull. Yeah. Since they're the Xeno, so that's the Order of Xenos, which are the alien hunters. There he is from that
You
side.
know, the thing with especially recent Space Marine models, the ones from the last 10 years, I think, I prefer the older designs because right now I think they've got literally too much going on.
Yeah, I like the new ones. So this guy probably came out 6 years ago, I would
Hmm.
think. I think that's when there was a box set that had Eldrad and this guy in it, and you got a bunch of like Death Watch guys. So that's basically all the Death Watch I have. But um, yeah, I agree. The new ones, I like the scale because they made them like the
No,
Primaris,
I mean,
so they're like the
proportionally, they look a lot
yeah,
better.
they look cool. But I think too that like some of the armor and stuff is too a little bit too science fiction, I think, too like futuristic looking. Um, but whatever, I guess. I don't have any of them, so even though the more that they come out with, the more tempting they are. So.
Yeah, and I mean, they're still doing brilliant stuff. But if you look at this one, for example, I have no idea what you call it.
Oh, the Nemesis Dread Knight. So he's my leader of my Grey Knights. So it's a Terminator standing there inside the
Yeah,
Dread Knight
the
is what
the
it's
thing is,
called.
it's not the paint job. The paint job looks amazing. Looks amazing. But with this design, it's like, do you know those little that's what you call it, slings that guys use to carry babies in?
Yeah, yeah.
That,
Oh yeah, the baby carrier.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what everyone said about this. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really mind that. So if you notice, to get away from that, see, I painted the foot pedals red
all right.
to try to make it look like he's actually like standing in something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like so his feet are attached to the legs and that like the harness around his waist is red. Yeah, I get that. I get it. Everyone thought that. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. It's like I imagine like that thing lifts up like on a like when you're going in a roller coaster, you know, like the thing comes down like over you. That's how I envision it happening, you know? And he's like standing in it and like driving it. So
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I said, it looks badass, but it's just why would anyone build something like this? Just
yeah, oh, who knows? Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at the older school stuff, like the second and third edition and so on, it's like uh, Imperial technology always looks super weird and dated. Yeah,
Hmm.
you know it's set thousands of years in the future, but it's all archaic and weird and stuff. But
Yeah.
it looked like it okay could conceivably work. Maybe I can see the reasoning behind it. It's like if you're making a giant armored robot, why are you strapping the pilot to the front of it?
Yeah.
That-
Who
it's
knows?
that kind
I
of.
think they watched
I think they were
yeah.
watching Alien when they were designing
That yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What
it.
they probably watched The Matrix. Is never in The Matrix they had these like at the end.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So it was probably something like that. But I, in a way, like the ridiculousness is like 40K too. You know.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
it's like, yeah, like who would actually do this? Like,
Uh,
and this is used to fight greater demons. So that's
yeah,
like when you think about it, it's like, okay, get in your Terminator armor, which is the most, advanced armor. Then we're gonna like put you in that in this other suit, and then you got to go fight some demons.
like
So
yo dog, I heard you like armor, so I'm going to put armor on your armor so you can armor while you're armoring.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, campaign terrain is saying must be 9 feet tall to ride this ride.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucy Collected is saying I need to get back to work on my Raven Guard army, but I have so many projects in the works that I need to finish or get back to work on. Yep, don't we all? I mean,
Yeah,
the good
that's a pain in the butt. Yeah.
the good thing about miniatures is that they don't expire, so
Yeah, that's
you'll get to it
true.
eventually.
Yeah, you'll get to it. What I had to do, so I have this army, then I have the Eldar army, and I have like a bunch of Inquisitor, like that aspect of the Imperium too. And I had to make them into like little batches. So I made like, okay, this will be like a 500 point little army, and then I can finish that, and then spread it out that way. So I see you're zoomed in on this foot here.
Yeah, I was
So I
looking
put
at
those
the
skulls. Yeah,
line work here. It looks really clean.
thanks. Though, yeah. Since he's the Grand Master, which is the highest of the order, there's like I think 9 orders in the Grey Knights. I tried to make his heraldry like on the leg.
Okay,
Maybe there's a picture like you can see the other side. Yeah, so it's white. That greave is white, and
this one's silver
then
and the
there's a
other
red
one.
stripe down it.
Let's
Maybe
see.
not.
Here we go.
Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Oh well. But yeah, so oh there you go. I wanted to make it like see it's all silver, but I wanted it to have like identifiable markings.
Mm-hmm.
So I view it to be like very science fiction in that way, like and kind of like World War II kind of. So like those
Makes sense.
plates are painted like that would be like that's like the his personal heraldry. And even if you see like on the shield up there on the left shoulder,
Yeah.
like I put the heraldry in there and glued all those purity seals on it. So you can see the stripe goes down it, the red stripe goes down the center of that, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
quartered with the black and the white. So I do, like I was saying, every model kind of has like a little the theme that I try to make go across the whole army, but everyone is like individual as well. It has like a little
Yeah, I know.
characterness to
Everything
it.
has their own little
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. I glued those skeletons on the top too. The model doesn't have that. There's like that skull with the horns, and then there's like the thing of skulls. Since he was the head, I just was trying to find like little bits to glue on to make it a little more exciting looking. And I bought the Games Workshop box of skulls, and you get like this box that just has all these skulls in it. So that's why every base I make now has skulls on it. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
I'll
think
just put
that's
a skull on it.
if that's not their most widely sold product, I don't know what is.
Well, you get a
Everyone loves
lot
that
of
box.
skulls in it. Yeah, yeah. You get so many skulls in it, and it's not expensive. So, and you get like big ones and like alien ones, and it was a good deal. So, yeah.
So let's see. Go for it. Painting is saying now I'm working on my Leviathan box set. Okay.
Oh, nice.
So go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
didn't get the Leviathan box set. Yeah.
Go for it. Painting. If you're on Discord and you want to show off some of your stuff, just put in the link to Discord again, and you can throw it into the community showcase channel. Okay, we'll be looking at them at
Yeah.
the end of the stream.
Yeah. So I didn't buy Leviathan box set. That's the new one that
Hmm.
comes with the new rolls, and you get these awesome new Terminator models in it and Tyranids. Um, but I'm just like have I just want to like paint pretty much everything that I have at this point and get all these army projects completed, and then maybe they'd be like, okay, I'll get something else, you know. But so also I put, if you look on the Terminators, not the Dread Knight machine, but if you actually look on his left shoulder pad, I put
Which one's that?
one of the shields on it. The
Uh,
one that on that same picture, you
oh,
can
sorry.
the same picture you were just on.
Uh,
There. So if you zoom in, see right on his left, the Terminator, the driver's left shoulder, that shield. I glued that shield on. It didn't have that right there. Because if you notice like the Terminators without, if they're like the Terminator model, they always have those like, I don't know what they're supposed to be in armor. You know, what are those called? Those shield, the like the rondelles kind of that go here, you
yeah,
know?
on the shoulder,
Um,
rondels. Yeah.
yeah. So I put that on him because he's like I said, the head. So I was like, okay, I can put this on him. And it kind of looks kind of cool. I think
Yeah, it does.
looks like there's like more shields and he's like more protected or something.
More armor.
Yeah, exactly. There's a perfect case of me going, let me just glue this on so it looks cool and it'll look more protected.
Let's see. Quest Bortarin is saying if miniatures expire, you can chop them up for Kitbash. To be fair, you don't even need to wait for them to expire to cut them off for Kitbash. I mean, say. Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
okay, this is interesting. Loosely Collected is saying, I've seen guys that aren't even gamers that have bought the skull box to detail other things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good box. Yeah.
So let's see. Loosely Collected is also saying about those that shield thingy. GW calls them tilting shields. I'm pretty sure that's the
Ah,
wrong term for them, but
maybe that's what they call them. Yeah.
in the 40th millennium, yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
if a 9 foot tall guy in a giant robot wants to call them tilting shields, they're tilting shields,
Yeah.
right?
I could
So,
see them calling them that, thinking they're knights lancing or something.
right, we should
Yeah, so this army for the Grey Knights, the order, the reason I put some of the vehicles in because they're like the armored order of the Grey
okay.
Knights. So I that's why I have these vehicles too.
Uh,
So
okay.
I tried to keep the same color, like with the red stripe, and then just a Razorback.
Yeah, I like
I
because
glued that
mm,
in.
I like that you've got this
Go ahead.
consistent team going because most chapter color schemes are just one solid color, mostly maybe with some details and stuff, but having those blocks of color with lines and stuff does change it up.
Yeah, I agree, and that's kind of like why I put them because when I first painted it, it was all the silver, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like just blah looking, you know. And I was trying to figure out ways to have some details and stuff added. I glued on that bit, that big book on Inquisitor book. That's like a bit from something else. But then like I said, started getting this like theme of the red, the white, and the black are like the colors. So I just stuck with it and tried to incorporate it on like all the vehicles. That the other vehicle I sent you, that little flying thing, I think is like the coolest one I have for the Grey Knights. I also have the big, um, not the, I forgot what it's called, but it's the biggest flyer that you can just buy at the store for them. But
Not
it
the
wasn't
Zoid.
100%. No, not. I do like, so this is,
Oh, I like
some people are
Zoid.
like, why did you get this? Why did you get this little thing? It's garbage. But I bought it last edition, and yeah, I bought it mainly for the model, and it did work cool last time. And it's the escort. I use it as an escort for the bigger one, the gunship one.
It's
But see
cute.
here, you can see on the wings, and I put the red and white
Uh-huh.
theme there, and the black I augmented it with by putting the cockpit be black, and that little black panels there kind of look like a little stinger or something. I tried to make it look insect looking, and
Uh-huh.
then the red panels in the back to
Yeah.
make the stripe again.
I like the staining on the back part.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I really like this model. This one, and I painted about like last winter, so this is kind of like was the newest. Oh, and with that one, I tinted the cockpit with that I think I forgot who makes it. Maybe it's Tamaya that makes it. See how just the little part, like that would be like the
This
that
part in
little
front, yeah?
part.
Like the head-up display
Yeah,
thingy?
yeah, the heads up display. Um, I think Tamaya makes it. It's like a liquid that's that color that you paint on the underside, and then you got to let it dry, and it did that. So that was
All
the
right.
first time I used that. But then I think I tinted the cockpit of that newest Wave Serpent 2, that one with the crescent moon. I think I tinted that one with this too. So it's pretty cool, and that's a level of modeling that I just started to do. So
Nice.
even as I guess if you're just watching this and you're like, man, that's cool. I suck at painting. I'm not saying I'm the best painter, but I
Fun.
continually just try. I watch like a YouTube video or something and try a technique and
You,
just
you
be like,
can
okay, that's
okay.
how they do that,
You can say what you like. I really like the way this turned out. I
Yeah,
really like this one.
thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Quick question. Do you glue the moving parts or do you just let them flip around?
I I so I'm a bit detail oriented, so I leave them open. So even the
Oh,
cockpit's open, so and the interiors are painted. So
oh.
it drives me crazy like that. I haven't painted like the interior like of this tank, the
Mm-hmm.
interior is not painted, or the wave serpents aren't, because if you open the door, you I think maybe this one I might have just painted a little bit, but if you open the door, you really can't see inside. So, but I
Yeah.
still have the back. If the door's a ramp, I have it open. Like the side doors are glued shut and everything, but
All right.
if it's a ramp, I'll leave it open.
No. Yeah. I mean, I like the concept of it, but especially for something I'll be playing with, I prefer just to glue everything together.
Yeah, me too. I mean it is easier, but I don't know. So those are some gray knights. Oh,
These
there's
ones,
like
yeah.
the assassin. Yeah. Um,
This one's a classic.
the assassin's pretty cool. Yeah. I painted him not too long ago either, maybe within the last like 2 years, maybe at the most ago. Um, he comes like this model comes with that thing he's leaning up against, like
Mm-hmm.
that's part of his model. But I thought with this, I went with the Desert Storm camo pattern to just, but it looks cool. I was like, you know what?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I had already started painting the color of the bases
Mm-hmm.
like they are, and then I was gonna buy a mat, so I bought the mat to like already. The mat looks like my world in my head, like where
Okay.
we battle on in my house. So I figured that camouflage would be able to like fit
Yeah,
in
it
with
fits.
it,
It fits.
And I thought it was cool because um I don't know, like it just adds some sort of mundane, like our time period in it some
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah, true.
Um, so something that you can relate to if you're that into guns and camo. But I'm sure if you're a veteran of the like Desert Storm or something, you'd be like, "Oh man, that was awesome." So I thought he came out pretty cool.
Yep, definitely was good. Okay, now I think I saw. Oh, here you are. I think
So
these little guys were
the
always part of
cherubs,
my
yeah,
favorite things in the artwork.
me too. And this is like from probably from like 1998 or something, this model.
All right.
And I just kept him around, and he's like part of my Inquisitor's retinue. And you can have like there's always like the Book of True Names or the Book of Grimnir or something when they're out inquisitoring. So that's what I always take, that I take that relic and then I get to take this little model for it. Even though you don't need to, that's how it, I think it's cool if you can do something like that. And that's the base I built up to, so it's like I don't know, he when he's next to the other guys, he's more like flying, you know.
Yeah,
Um
without it, I think he'd be very low to the ground. So,
yeah,
yeah.
it did look like, you know, he was low, so this kind of like looks like he's dragging it up a hill or something. But I agree, like I love when they're in the art and everything. So that's the possessed. So my Inquisitor is like the one of the bad Inquisitors that like not bad, but I guess he
One of the
there's like
more
the
pragmatic inquisitors, kind of thing.
yeah,
All
where
right.
they bind the demons to work for them. So that's what this guy is.
Oh
He's
wow,
his
that
bound
that looks
demon.
very bound, extremely bound even.
Yeah. So this was cool because I put those torches on the base. So the base, he doesn't have anything like that. So the base of the model ends with those two skulls that are like chained to his feet with those
Oh, all right.
keys. So I built the base up, and then these torches were from like I have like some scenery, and when a church came with all these torches, so I put them in there. And what I was trying to do, what if you look at the ground, I was trying, this is me trying to experiment with the light of the torch like glowing off the ground.
Ah,
I
yeah,
don't know
okay,
if
I
it
see.
worked that well, but that's what I was trying to do there. Like so to have some like lighting effects.
Yeah,
But I
OSL
think it
is
came
an
out
awesome trick.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely very cool.
I think the torches I think the torches there make the model look way cooler
Oh
than
yeah.
it did without it.
Did you also do the same thing around the try to do the same thing around the eyes?
Yeah, I tried to just make the eyes glowing as
All right.
opposed to like they're glowing from the inside as opposed to having like pupils and stuff. So
No, I think you got it.
that was my attempt. Yeah, thanks. I have the
Hmm.
Inquisitor there. That's him. So this is my, I have two Inquisitors here. So this is my Inquisitor who bound the Ordo Zenus Inquisitor, who bound that demon. This is him. Um, so this is like armor. Well, it was like a Forge World model, so I don't know if it's like Type 3 power armor or something.
Whoosh.
But I have the front plates black like there, but the back plates I kept red as like his inquisitorness, you know.
Hmm.
Um, he has like that head was from something else. The arms are everything's from something different. And he has a power fist, and then I make that gun just be some sort of relic pistol or whatever.
I like the bold
Um,
colors on this.
yeah, thanks. I that I tried to I so that here's something. I'm actually colorblind.
Oh, all right.
So for me painting is like crazy. So I have to use a lot of the names of the colors and go by like trusting that it's going to look cool. Um, so I recently started incorporating these like bright contrasty colors and stuff, which I noticed I didn't do long time ago, and I think it was because I was colorblind, but I kind of like looked, I'm red green colorblind, so I can see red and green, but sometimes if the red and the green are of a certain hue and they're next to each other,
Okay.
your brain like triggers it to be like one color over the other. So that's what happens when you're colorblind. But in any case, this was relatively in the maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I started to try this, and this was just based off of me looking at miniatures online and being like, yeah, you know, it's cool when they put in like these like colors that are bright. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? Like it doesn't always have to be like dark. You know. So I made the base too with the little skull there. The model I think comes like that bit that's under his foot,
The
like
the
that
the
rock. I think yeah, that's part of the model.
tactical rock. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just kind of built another base and put the whole thing on and added that little skull.
I like it. It's a very imposing model.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
So this is the
Oh, there's a chunky boy.
my dread yeah, my dreadnought from back in the day. So he's the Death Watch dreadnought. So this is just like more level. So you can see the base. I totally built this base, but the wing matches the wing of my Eldar tanks. But I painted the wing
All right.
since I
Okay.
was like, well, you know what I mean? So I now am like connecting all my armies together in like a super theme, so you can see there's like the Elder head, there's like the tank, you know what I mean? So he's like
Yeah. Okay.
actually just like blown up an Eldar, you know, one of my guys. And so it's kind of cool. I view it like since
Oh,
they're
I
the
like
alien hunters,
I like the sculpting on this piece.
thanks. Yeah, that and like I said, that's all just with like spackle, like
All
light
right.
spackle. You can get the heavy spackle too, but I figure the light spackle seemed to work the best. But yeah, you can easily put anything under it. Like I said, I use the styrofoam, but you can probably build it up with. I probably used cardboard at before or whatever, but like the outside component was like this spackling, and it gives you an awesome effect too. And you can just paint different layers and wash it and highlight, dry brush it, and it
Yeah. I
comes
mean,
out
that's got
really cool
a
looking and it's easy.
it's got a lot of depth to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so basically you're building the Isaverse with the the Elder and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Marines on the
Yeah,
same planet.
yeah.
So
So
come
and also too, then if someone comes by, like ideally this Death Watch army, I think has like only 1,000 points in it or something, and I never really updated it or nothing. But I viewed it like, okay, if someone comes by, we can have like a small game of Warhammer, and it kind of all is thematic, and it'll make it kind of neat for them. Like if they've never played Warhammer or something too, or like, man, I get to use this cool army that has all this like cool looking matching stuff. So
so let's see. Campaigner is saying I can only keep the armor type straight by the helmets, and really only the B keys matter. Uh,
Mhm.
the B keys are a
Yeah, that's
blast
true.
from the past.
Yeah, they're like the most popular helmet, it
Yeah,
seems. Everyone seems to like them.
I seem to remember. I think those were around from the Rogue Trader days, so we're talking mid to late 80s. And do you remember that
Yeah.
they used to have? I think they remade them for. Yeah, I see Evolution of Gaming is talking about Warhammer Heresy. But I remember those beakies used to come with these shoulder pads that used to have these bubbles on them, like
Oh yeah, the studs.
the
Yeah,
studs. Yeah,
those are super cool. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you're right. They are just redoing them for Horus Heresy now. They um are making them in plastic and they look really cool, but it's like another if they made like just to randomly talk about Horus Heresy, I think it's totally cool. But my issue is that it's like Marines versus Marines. Now, if they made like introduced Eldar into it or something, I would be 100% into it to play. But um, I'm a big, if I wanted to make like another Marine army, I don't know. Though I do like the Emperor's Children are my favorite, and if you're into Horus Heresy, then you would know that they've released like the Fulgrim model where he's like half serpent with in his wings and stuff. I mean, it's like this awesome model, but like you said, it's like Forge World. It's like 200 some dollars. I was like, this is crazy.
I can see the chat is now professing their love for the beakies. You know what I remember from the Emperor's Children models. I think there were at least I don't know if anyone painted a full army of them like that, but I remember that there were a few that were done up like glam rockers. So we've got their armor painted with
Oh yeah, yeah,
leopard skin and
yeah.
purple and green
I'm
hair and stuff.
hoping they Yeah, so they're the last Chaos Army that hasn't been like updated,
All right.
from like the past like 15 years or something. So the Noise Marine models are like 20, like the bits, they're so bad and horrible. Um, but they remade like the Corn, like the World Eaters and Zinch and Nerdhole. They made their 40K armies and they all have like their Demon Primarchs as models. So I'm waiting for the Emperor's Children 40K army, and likely I would start them because it'll connect to the theme that the Slanesh was made by the Eldar. So then I'll have like a Chaos army.
Ah, come
So
on.
I'll
It
have
was an
like,
accident, okay? It only happened once.
yeah, I know, but it's like it connects the whole thing together. That and then my Grey Knights could actually fight demons, and it'll make sense. So
Okay, so let's see.
I'm waiting for them.
Here we have a
So
gentleman with
this was
a
my
massive purple hammer. Let's not read anything into
yeah,
that.
this was my Inquisitor in Terminator armor. So he's the Ordo Malleus Terminator armor Inquisitor. So that's why I put the his back of his armor is black, just because to make him be Inquisitor D. And he has like a demon hammer. That little servo skull is like floating on the rock, and he has a side cannon. So for a while they didn't allow this guy. Like they didn't update last edition, and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't include him. They never made a model for him. So this
All
is
right.
just like bits I put together to make this model. But then with when they released this 10th edition Legend rules, which are like the models they used to make or aren't in the game anymore, they included the options to have him. I was disappointed because, like I said, this model, albeit the one from like 1988, was the Inquisitor and Terminator armor, was kind of like what got me into the game. So I made my own version as time went, and like an updated version. And then when they didn't allow it for a while, I was kind of mad. So because he would always go with my Great Knights like everywhere. And so the difference, some interesting tidbits. So here he has like the Grey Knight, the Ordo Malleus shoulder pad,
This
because
one.
he
Yeah.
is Ordo Malleus, yeah. And the other Inquisitor in the power armor has the Ordo Xenos shoulder pad.
Okay.
So if you're really that WYSIWYG,
uh,
you you're not going to catch me out.
you're definitely far more patient than I am.
Then that's the chaplain, the Grey
Okay,
Knight
let's bring
chaplain
him
right
up.
there. Yeah, so he's pretty cool.
The,
This was a limited edition model, so
the man
I
definitely has a thing for skulls.
yeah, I never got the limited edition model because it was like the yearly event model or something.
Okay.
But then I saw like some Russian like like totally like he must have just remolded it, or I don't know how, but he was selling this, so I
Oh, all
bought
right.
it, and it was like a recast, I guess is what it was. But the recast was, I mean, it's really good quality and everything, and you wouldn't even be able to tell. So he's the Grey Knight chaplain, and for him, um yeah, he was. I had to put the Grey Knight arm. I think I put it on to, so you'd have that, and the plate that he's standing on isn't part of him.
Uh-huh.
He has the tactical rock, I think, on his other foot. But so I cut out this like chunk of plastic. Yeah, he's standing on the tactical rock, and then put that other piece under it, so it gives it a little, like, it looks like he's going up steps now. That's kind of
Yeah.
how I wanted him to
It's like
look.
he's standing in some at the edge of some ruins or something.
Yeah, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad though, they made new Terminators, and I don't think I'm gonna buy new Terminators. There's the medic, the Terminator medic,
So
or
what's different about them?
apothecary.
What above
Um,
the new ones?
Well, for me, it's not going to matter. They look awesome, and if I had a regular Space Marine army, I would probably buy them. They're a little taller, I think, by a hair because I think they're all standing like upright and just more of a crisp sculpt, a little bit more proportionally correct too. Um, but if they were to ever remake Grey Knight Terminators, they would have to look like really incredible looking for me to like
Mm.
rebuy them. But yeah, so this is the apothecary. Um,
That's a
he
lot of
comes with,
stuff going on there.
yeah, I guess he has his those. I guess that's where they collect the gene seed, like that thing on his left hand, the needle thing.
Uh-huh.
They just like plunge into you and extract your gene seed. I guess those are the safety vials. Yeah, there. I forgot what that's called. There's a name for that little device.
Not
I guess they cut.
I think something with an N or something.
Yeah, that's it. Like the nar. I forgot. It is with an NARC something.
I remember the Blood Angels had a different name for it because it had slightly different rules, but yeah.
Yeah, so
No,
that was pretty cool. I added all these purity seals and stuff on him and tried to make him look kind of neat and gave him that staff. That staff is actually a weapon from the Grey Knights. I forgot what it's called, but it makes like a force shield around you.
all right.
So I thought that if he's like the medic, he would like trigger this staff that creates this force shield around him as he's like extracting the like
Yeah, I mean,
gene seed out the people.
if has to sit there while he's being shot at, it might as well put up the force
Yeah,
shield and
exactly. Yeah.
health and safety at work, people. Health and safety at work.
Yeah.
So let's see. Campaign training is saying GW be like the model you physically have in your hand and have painted and have played with thousands of times does not exist. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's infuriating because
that's
they
the
just
worst.
take things out of the game and it's like, but I like them.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like I don't get it. I guess they want to have so before, like in years past, um, like throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, they seemed to encourage kit bashing and they would
Yeah.
print rules even without models and expect that people would just convert and make their own versions of the
Hmm.
models. But then at some point it seemed to switch to that they only will make rules for the models that they sell and everything that comes in those boxes, which I kind of get, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
does like
in
if you
terms of
had all this other stuff, it's kind of like, oh, thanks.
in terms of business, it does make sense, but it's also, it's a bit weird because you're working with a captive audience, and I mean, it used to be
Yeah,
they would usually publish all this stuff. Okay, this is how you make terrain. This is how you make your own hover thingy. This is how you make your own whatever. They stopped all of that. But again, remember, it's a business. They're literally there to sell stuff.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, like the plastic models are freaking awesome looking, you know. Um, I think the price is like too is a bit on the high end now.
Yeah, I mean, it is a monopoly, so that's what you get with monopolies.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, here's like the Titan.
Ding.
I wasn't gonna put this picture in, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, he needs to be shown. So this is a real Forge World Titan. It's not a. I have the plans to print the Phantom Titan because I don't think I'm going to pay that much. But this one I actually legitimately bought. So he goes with the Luganith. So that's like my army. Yeah, he's big, bad, and totally cool. The
How
actual
how large?
faceplate lifts up, and I painted the cockpit. I should have showed a picture of the guy in there, but there's actually a guy sitting in there, and that like lifts up, and he's like driving it.
So this thing
So it's pretty cool.
must be pretty large.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, I think there's a photo. There's that resin base that I ordered that came with the free
Oh
other
yeah,
free stuff.
guys, it does look fantastic.
Yeah. Um, So that guy, I found him on eBay, but that's the actual base that I ordered, and then it came with a bunch of like little bases that are other products that he makes. But that's an incredible base. I added some more skulls though. Just it didn't have any skulls on it, so I was like, "Oh,
What? What? No
come here,
skulls?
box of
No, no, no,
skulls."
no, no, no,
No.
no. It has to have skulls.
Yeah. Yeah, this is I like this guy a lot. Too bad I don't ever get to play with him,
So,
but
yeah, it's
just So the that cloth in the center, like between his legs, I made that. That's like with like I made it out of thick paper, like I think it's like watercolor paper.
all right.
But though that actual rune, so we're gonna be super nerdy. I dug out the old like original like Titan runes from like back in the articles of the Eldar, and that's the actual Revenant Titan rune on it. So
Okay.
that's like, and this is the Revenant Titan, so that's like the correct rune for them and stuff. So I thought that was if you're that into it, that you would know that. That there you go.
No, I'm just approaching it because I'm looking at the skulls in relation to the size of the thing, and you can barely see them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I have a picture with like
I
I don't know if I put it in. Yeah, so that's a Wraith Knight there next to him.
and it's already a bit taller than a human-sized
Yeah,
miniature.
those are pretty big. Yeah, that's like a yeah, those are kind of tall. And there's the regular Wraith Knight. So the on the left there, you can buy that plastic Wraith Knight from Games Workshop. So if you know what a Wraith Knight is, that's it compared to the Titan. And I think the Wraith Knight is the tallest model that Games Workshop sells. Even out of even all the knights, even the Imperial Knights and stuff. I think
All right.
that one is just the back fins make it the tallest one. So I have three more of those Wraith Knights
Oh,
on
all
the
right.
left. Yeah, I have like one of each like loadout. Yeah, so my collecting has gone a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I will say only two words to you. Orbital bombardment.
Yeah.
So let's see. Evolution of Gaming says the monopose models are engineered to use as little plastic as possible to maximize profits, and also makes it harder to use third-party bits. Yeah, I didn't think of that actually, because if they're monopose, you're not going to be able to replace the bits. Hmm.
Yeah, fortunately, the Eldar kits are not they're quasi monopose, but the arms aren't attached. So like in some of the Space Marine models, like half the arm is connected
Mm-hmm.
to like a body and then half to like another piece or something. But with like the new Eldar kits, the arms are separate. So you can in this Sunblitz Brotherhood army I'm making, you can like kit bash stuff. So I have Storm Guardians. They're actually here. I don't know if you'll be able to see in a
One
camera.
sec. Let
Let me
me
see.
let me enlarge your view. Oops. There you go.
Let's see. Well, you can't see too much, but the detail. But the arms are from the Corsairs. Um, like the Eldar Corsair kit has pirate arms, but you can all arm it with rifles. So the kit I loaded the kit out with all rifles and helmets. So then that gave me 10 bear heads, and also you get the pistol and the sword and all special weapons
Okay.
too. So then when I bought this generic Storm Guardian kit that's going to be like the bodyguard of my guy, I gave them all the Corsair arms so that they'll match the aesthetic
All right.
of the Corsairs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you
makes sense.
can,
You
yeah,
can
you
mix and match
can
a bit.
kit bash that way. Yeah, with the Eldar. But I do know the Marines, like especially the characters and stuff, and the monopose you can't do unless you have like someone that doing 3D printing that prints out a piece or something. You can't do it like you used to do in the day. And I think that is unfortunate in a way because that was like a cool part of the hobby for a lot of people.
Oh
Excuse me.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I spent a lot more time sewing and gluing miniatures back together
Yeah,
than I
me
did playing,
too.
to be honest.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Evolution of Gaming says, yes, but most of the elder models are old enough to legally drink.
That's true. I know. Yeah. Oh, that drives me crazy too. I'm like, how can you just like make entire new armies like from scratch? Like, let's just invent like the when they had the squats return. So the squats went away in like
Hmm.
third edition 40K,
I think
and
they were still.
the
Oh yeah, the third edition. Yeah, they were completely dropped in third edition.
yeah, right. But you have that some Eldar models are still from back then, like the Phoenix Lords. There's a few now, but like the Warp Spiders, which everybody loves to take, are still like second edition models. So you're telling me you can't just make one box of
No.
plastic guys to like update them. So that's like 25 years, since 19, I don't know, 90 when they came out. I don't know, 30 years. It's like 30 years old.
Yeah, I mean, still, I mean,
So it's like wild.
they are a good design. I'll give them that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is a testament to like the design of the Eldar is that they really haven't changed it even when they like made these new guys now and stuff. They just kind of updated it. Um, the remake ones that have come out so far, like the Guardians and a couple aspects, they look the same, but they're crisper, a little bit taller looking, like more elegant. I
Mhm.
think the plastic and designing them with the computer allows you to like stretch it out, like
Yep.
the to get the length of like the Eldar, whereas before it seemed like sometimes they looked short.
They're a bit
Um,
squatter. I think it's the case even with the
yeah,
Marines and stuff as well. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I guess that was from hand. I would imagine from hand sculpting. But now
partly,
with the
possibly as part of
computers,
the molding process as well, possibly.
oh yeah, that could
Because
be
if
too.
you
Yeah.
make them very tall, it's very likely that the greens would break in the mold. I think.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah. And they always were just like the flat plane too, like in those molds, remember?
Yeah, they
Like
have
the,
to be.
the
They have to
models.
be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, if you go,
So yeah, they have to be. Yeah, that's how it was. So as much as like a lot of people complain too, like, yeah, they're not, you can't kit bash. The models now though look awesome. So I guess, I don't know. I guess if you still want to kit bash, go ahead. But they do look pretty cool.
yeah, Evolution of Gaming is saying, yeah, they can't make new Elder, but they can make 100 primary lieutenants. You know, it's important
Yeah.
because otherwise, how are people going to get their lieutenant resting on a tactical rock,
Yeah,
lieutenant without a tactical
exactly.
rock, lieutenant with two tactical
Yeah.
rocks?
Yeah, and then they got to make one in like every type of Space Marine armor, every category.
Yeah, and with hair, without hair.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that sucks. That really annoys me a lot. Like you said, they another Space Marine lieutenant. So I don't know what drives it. I guess just because Space Marines are their
Uh,
thing.
I think
Um,
Space Marines are definitely the best sellers out of all the ranges in. I mean, statistically, it's difficult not for them not to be because you've got like 3 million varieties of them. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, and they're cool. They're like,
oh
I
yeah,
mean, like
they're
really
definitely very
like
cool.
if you were in that 40K universe, ideally, and you were human, you'd probably want to be a Space Marine over an Imperial Guard. So I get it. I get the like coolness factor of them. Uh, but they could spread the love out to the other
Yeah,
ranges as well.
spread the
Maybe
plastic
more
love.
people would buy them, like that's
Yeah,
Like people try to justify like, well, people just buy Marines, but if you just continually make Marines and flood the market with Marines and have different types of Marines and stuff, people um,
Yeah,
are going to buy that.
especially since advertising usually goes with new stuff and shelf space and so.
Yeah,
So if you're just churning out the same thing all the time and you're putting something out, you're advertising it. You're putting something out, you're advertising it. And if you're always advertising the same thing, then yeah, I can see why that would skew things. Yeah, you have a point there.
yeah. And you figure like Marines were around since the beginning. They were on like the cover of the book.
Hmm.
But Eldar is just as old and have a massive, extensive like range of models that are like different, like different aspect warriors. You have Harlequins, you have Dark Eldar, Drukhari. So that's huge. Like orcs have a huge like lore and history of, like the units and stuff are massive amounts.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
and it's just weird that,
even the different tribes have,
yeah. So
it's
it's just weird to me that they don't explore this more,
yeah, I
I don't
guess.
know.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of,
Money, I guess.
oh, yeah, it's always gonna be money. But I mean, speaking of orcs, for example, you've got the tribes are so different that it's not even a case of hey, these orcs were black, these orcs were purple. It's like no,
Exactly. Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
these
Like
are wearing boar hides, these are driving stolen tanks. It's like
exactly. I know. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, which makes the orcs cool, but like you said, you can't generally just substitute one or the other, like you have, like you said, guys driving Mad Max cars and other ones are riding giant squigs. So
okay, loosely collected is saying the crazy thing is that these are digitally sculpted. How hard would it be to put one digital sculptor on each faction and whip out new troops to each until everything is updated? Well, I mean,
yeah, that's the point. I could see like I think I did some like weird deep dive into it one time, and the cost of the mold for a plastic injection mold is like so much dollars. But I can't justify that really because any box that they make, I'm sure gets the initial money back from the cost of making the mold. Like
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think anything would ever undersell. However, that amount of money is, any product that Game Workshop makes will get at least that much money back. You know what I mean? So I mean, I just don't, like you said, it seems relatively easy now. Why don't they just do this like catch up? And it hurts like they had the squats. So that's was kind of went on this tangent here. The squats, so they re-brought the squats back um like a year ago or so, and they had to make a whole army for them.
yeah.
It's not like here you come. So they made like a bunch of elite units, a bunch of troops, some characters, some vehicles. Um, so that's a lot of kits. I don't know off the top of my head, but let's say 10 kits they made. That could have finished the Eldar range and have everything be in plastic then.
Okay,
So it's
actually,
it's really bizarre.
I see. Evolution of Gaming is saying the issue is the molds, they are very expensive to make and they wear out. It takes longer to recoup costs on models like Elder. Uh, I think it makes sense because it's not a question of whether they make their money back. I'm pretty sure they
Hmm.
would make their money back on any. They make something, people will buy it. It's not even a question.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's more of a question of how long it would take.
Mm.
Or, for example, let's say that they say, okay, we can make this, we can get our money back, and we can get X amount of profit. Or we can make a new Space Marine and we'll get this amount of profit.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
So, yeah,
So if it does take, yeah,
it's always down
I'm
to the
sure
bottom
they
line. Look,
calculate that in that. Yeah, they,
I am sure someone
yeah,
calculated that very
yeah,
accurately.
yeah. They're like, okay, this would sell. Maybe that's why they can only release um, one or two Like let's say for the next they for Eldar, they just remade the Striking Scorpions and they're going to be putting them out. I don't know when, but they previewed them. So that's one aspect warrior. So the last batch of Eldar came out 2 years ago, maybe. So maybe that's what they calculated. Okay, that run lasted 2 years. We can make another thing now, and it might take like because they're not Marines, and now we're going into specific aspect warriors, which aren't the
They're very
general
niche. Yeah.
purchase of the Eldar. Yeah, they're very neat. Um, we can put them out, and they'll have it'll take X amount time to sell, but in the meantime, they're selling these other products that are pretty much making the money. That's just like you're saying on the slow burn to get that profit back.
So let's see. Campaign Terrain is saying discontinued squads, then reintroduced, drive sales, discontinued B keys. Uh, I don't think it's. I don't think the plan was that clear. I think the one of the reasons they discontinued squads was that they had not planned them out very clearly in the beginning when putting them in. They had put them in as a joke. Let's put it initially. It just happened that the joke turned out to be a really good thing
Yeah,
because I think
yeah, they were a bit hard to I think to push forward
yeah, and
because they were just like dwarves on motorcycles,
and
pretty
trikes,
much
yeah,
like biker dwarves.
biker
Yeah,
dwarfs, which is
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, they were pretty cool.
yeah.
But then again, I don't think it was that planned in that way because it took them what 30 years to introduce them.
Yeah, that I think like the problem was that everybody liked everybody liked them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, excuse
Hey,
me.
bless.
Everybody liked them, but they just couldn't, like you said, have a way to fit them in. So I think it was like a slow redevelopment. They brought them. I play Necromunda as well, so my goal with scenery and maybe like later on I can come back and this would be up your alley. I'm trying to make like a hive city. So
Ooh.
so I got like the floor tiles that actually they're plastic. Games Workshop made them.
Mhm.
That was like what I bought. So um it's going to be like in the inside of the hive, like, and I want to have like a lot of craziness going on. But in any case, in Necromunda, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, they made a squat like model. He was like an arms dealer, I think, or something.
Like a hired gun, a
Um,
single miniature. Yeah, I remember it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think that was like them saying, like testing the waters, like, okay, they're not out. You know
Let's
what I
see if
mean?
someone will buy this.
Exactly, yeah. And then they made a more. Remember, they made the gang then for Necromunda, the squat prospectors, and that I guess went good enough that they were like, all right, let's like just like do this whole army now. Like I think that's how they slowly reintroduced them back into the line. But I believe they worked in how they like canceled them into the lore somehow. I never bought the new squat codex, but I think it's mentioned that they were all died off somehow, and these are the ones that survived. So I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat or something knows more.
Oh no, okay. So campaign terrain is saying diggy diggy asteroid. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to be. I'm going to have that playing in my head for weeks again. No, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Anyway, so moving away from the Warhammer universes,
Yeah.
you're also running a D&D campaign for your families, right?
Yeah. So we run a Dark Sun campaign. It's me, my wife, and our two kids, and sometimes we got like one of the other kids to play with us. So we started it right. I don't know if it was when COVID started or something, like for something to do inside. Mainly, I had played D&D um, in high school and stuff, and that's when Dark Sun had come out. I was a fan of it, but my gaming group, we played in Forgotten Realms, and was very into like basic medieval. Forgotten Realms is awesome.
I know, for Forgotten
Uh,
Realms is like Renaissance fair kind of medieval. It's like
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It is,
which is fun.
And yeah, and it became like now it's the default. Like back then it was a campaign box set, which continued. They built like a whole campaign system on it, but I believe now the standard like world in the rule book is Forgotten Realms.
I
I think
believe so.
that's
Yeah.
where you like default play on. So it's kind of, I guess it was so popular that that's what I'm. And the movie was in Forgotten Realms. I don't know if you saw the D&D movie
Yeah,
like
yeah, I know.
last year or whatever. Yeah, it was in Forgotten Realms, so it was kind of cool. But
Yeah,
in any case, yeah. So nobody. I bought the box set back then when it had came out, and none of my crew really was into it. They weren't really into like the psionic aspect and this type of stuff, or just like the nature of the game. And so I collected basically the books and stuff by myself, but never really played. And then a couple of years ago, when COVID started, I was like, yeah, like my friend, my old gaming friend, I made a comment or something, and he like randomly mailed me like a Dark Sun box set from
Ooh,
like AD&D second edition, and so I was like, oh, this is cool. And then that gave me the idea to start this campaign with my kids and my wife.
okay.
All three have never role played or anything. So I was
It's
like, all right, let's do this.
it's interesting because Dark Sun is a pretty brutal setting. It's not like it wouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind when talking about family game.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It is that, but I wanted that. I think like I wanted that aspect. Just I don't know why. Like just because it's different, I guess, is the main thing. And it's not everything that we do in all our movies that are like medieval. There's like a lot of medieval, general like European medieval fantasy type of stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
So I was kind of like, even when we play video games, it's like that. So I was like, well, why? We can play a video game, like you can play Skyrim if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? So why let's try this other thing, um and they seem to love it. Yeah, it was brutal. Like we were talking before, I guess Wizards of the Coast isn't going to support it anymore, but my kids, we started with the initial um adventure that comes with that box set. So we're playing in second edition, advanced second edition, um and in that introductory game, you start out as a slave, and my kids didn't really have any issues of it.
Is that
Um,
the one with the
but
pyramid and stuff? The
yeah,
ziggurat, not the
that's the
pyramid. Yeah.
one.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Freedom. First, we played the little scenario in the box set, and then I wanted to set. So I'm a Dark Sun fan of the books too. So I wanted to set the timeline starting, so we can kind of go along with the Dark Sun timeline. Dark Sun, I think this was the first time they did it, was they had like a running storyline through all the supplements.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
So yeah, and that running storyline kind of matched the books that they had, like the novels. So at while you're not like the main heroes, you are heroes at all the events if you run through all this whole thing. Um, I didn't want to do that so much, but I wanted that to be started. So we
Hmm.
played that first scenario, Freedom, and that's when you're at the slaves building the ziggurat. And my kids didn't have any issue. I mean, it's not like I wasn't like portraying it like the horrific. Like if we were adults playing, I'm sure I would have,
Have been a bit
you
more
know,
brutal. Yeah.
yeah, a bit more like hardcore. But I still had like my son. He was like talking trash, and they were in like a pit with like a grate over him. Like, and I was like, well, the guy just like drops his pants and like pisses on you. I wanted to keep some like flavor of like. the slave. So he was like that type of thing. Like he laughed, it was like good humor and he laughed and stuff. So, um, but yeah, I didn't really go like too hardcore slaves, but they didn't have any issues. At the end, you're not a slave anyway. So, but the more also something that's more brutal is that like you don't get steel weapons all that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like so
basically
it's
a
a lot.
stone slash Bronze Age kind of environment
Yeah,
mostly.
yeah. So and they take that into account. You start at third level, which is kind of neat. Um, and yeah, metal's scarce. It's hot out. It's dehydration. I think it it summarizes like all of AD&D in second edition. It like took like everything, like every rule, every possible scenario, or what. Let's like just take it to the like farthest it can go, and it put it in there. Even with the psionics, like nobody psionics like Trump. That's like a class that everybody can be. It's like the general class, like no class restriction or anything. Anyone can be it, and any race can go as high as whatever level 20. If you're playing up to level 20 or beyond. So that even that was different. I
Yeah,
think that caused problems with it a little bit, is doing the psionics, but now when I'm doing it for my kids, maybe I understand it more, and I think I view how what they were trying to go for, I think is kind of like in Dune, or maybe the Force, maybe
hmm
like kind of like the Force, but I think more like in Dune, how he can like talk to her and like command her and stuff. I think that's like kind of what they were going for with the psionics. As I read it now as an adult, I reread like this material and stuff. I'm curious if that's what they kind of had in mind.
kind of thing. Because I think it's also worked into the whole ecosystem. So you can have this harmless, strange lizard in the middle of nowhere who will literally brainwash you into sitting down and just drink your body fluids.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And which is interesting too. And like the fact that the magic, the way then they like took the take on magic was that when you cast a spell, you're like sucking life out of the planet
Yeah,
to like get the spell to go off. So that's why the planet is in the shape that it's in, because you have these super sorcerer kings, just like one of their spells, um, can kill. Like in the book, I mean, this is a spoiler, but the book's like 30 years
there. Yeah,
old. So if you
I was
haven't
gonna
read it
say.
yet, but in the book, the Prism Pentad, like the first book, the point is that the king, in game terms, if you're a wizard, a dual class wizard psionic, and get to level 20, you can then start in both, in 20 level 20 psionic and level 20 wizard, you can start to like transform into a dragon and be like the ultimate thing. And that ends at level 30. So it's like a 10 level process. So the point of the first book was that the king of Tyr, Kalik, was trying to jump from level 20 to level 30 in like one shot.
Because
So
why not?
that's
Yeah.
why they were building, yeah, why not? That's why they were building the ziggurat, and they were having these gladiatorial games, and the whole city was going to be there. As part of the spell, he casts it, and the people in the Colosseum start dying, because to get the power, he had to drain the life out of like the people all there. So that's like the level of magic and stuff that like happens like when you're at that level, I guess, to
St-
get the spells to go off.
Still, one thing I liked about that setting was that the way that they did you've got the defilers who are the bad guy wizards who literally don't care, just
Yeah,
drain magic left and it ends there. The good guy wizards, the preservers, still have to do that.
yeah.
So it
Yeah,
was,
and they like the what they like balance it out. Like, so if you're a preserver, you're like a general wizard, and you like know how to do it in like equilibrium where you're not like killing the stuff.
And you're doing it
But if
very
you're a
slowly.
defiler, yeah, but if you're a defiler, they like that's like an actual separate class and the progression is faster. I think that's how they worked it out. And then when they did the revised edition of Dark Sun, like right before, like remember there was that time period for it was still ADD in second edition, but they kind of like it was right at the end. They like it was like AD&D 2.5. It
Mhm.
like kind of got a different logo or whatever. But at that point, they revised the Dark Sun box set. It was maybe like 5 years after the original one was released, and they added like when the Templar this is a cool aspect I think they added when they cast their spell, like underneath them starts to turn black, so then you can like see who they are, because they start, and the more powerful the spell, the like wider the area, as it's like sucking the life out of them, out of
It's
the ground.
it's pretty cinematic, but thinking about it in actual game terms, they would not last very long because all the people can. Oh, it's that guy. Beat him, kill him.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, I guess like you're not supposed to be a defiler, I guess. I
No,
don't know.
absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the challenges of playing one, I guess, is keeping
Keeping
that
that secret, yeah.
secret.
But again,
Yeah.
you also have to be very careful if you're playing a preserver because in lore, in game, people can't tell the difference.
No, no. And magic is like outlawed too. So it doesn't matter like what you are. Yeah, magic is illegal. So that's interesting. But the preservers do have like a secret society that they can all be a part of, and if they find you, they'll help you, and they teach you like sign language and stuff. They have like their own version, so it's kind of neat in that way.
Oh yeah.
uh,
So let's
yeah.
see. Campaign terrain is saying sounds like very Conan or Elric style magic. I don't know. It is a lot like the magic in Conan. The barbarian means like you need to pull magic out of things. I'm not sure about Elric though, to be honest, because if I remember correctly, the magic in the Elric of Melniboné saga was you couldn't cast magic, but you had to negotiate with other creatures to do the magic for you. If I remember correctly, might be wrong on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember either. I think then in Dark Sun, it's more just like energy, like I guess to cast the. So it's like you need living energy. That's what it is. So you would need like the plants would wither or stuff around you would kind of just like die, which reveals who you are too, I guess.
Or you could just be a very bad gardener.
Yeah, yeah. You just like walk and stuff dies around you.
Okay, yeah. Thinking of my track record with houseplants, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let's see. The Beast of Живодан is saying convert Dark Sun to Easy D6. Yeah, I was trying to get him sold on Easy D6 earlier before the stream. Because you were telling
Yeah,
you had to
I
adapt the system for your kids, yeah?
yeah, you know what? I never played it, so maybe I'll buy your book and then I'll get like the rule book too, so at least I know what you're talking about in it. Um, that would be quite a project, though, I'm assuming.
So you were talking about the adjustments you made for second edition for your kids. So how, how did
Oh
you?
yeah, so yeah, we can talk about that. I so one thing that I noticed that ruins the flow of when you're gaming is when you got to look stuff up. And when I was young, um, that was the fun for us, was looking up the rules and stuff. So we all had like our own rule books and like like totally like 100% like knew everything for our character and all this. So when I played D&D back in the day, I was always a thief. So I would have like the rogues handbook, the player, like I would know all these things. I'd have like know what to specialize in, and I
The
had this idea
percentiles,
of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew
yeah.
everything. And so when our DM was like, "What do you want to do?" I would be like, "Okay, well, hold on. This is like, I want to like do this, then roll over here and try to do this." And um, but like my kids and my wife, like they never played D&D and they have no interest on reading these books. So after a while, I realized, and I realized this from watching Vin Diesel's D&D campaign
Oh,
or
really?
game like on YouTube. Yeah. When he played, their group that they played with was awesome. And the video is maybe like a half hour long, but they go through this like incredible story in this like half hour. And the DM is super awesome, but they might only roll the dice like 10 times in this whole like half hour.
Oh, right.
So he had like everything planned out and was like, okay, you got to roll, you need to roll this number, you know? And so when I was watching that, and then with my, like, there was like never really like any interrupted game flow or anything. I kind of like took that and redid their character sheets to like a form where it's very easy, like it's like just basic statistics, and there's numbers on him where it my kids will know what to roll, even my wife, you know. So then when we play, when I make out the scenario, I set it up so that if they're going to have to do something at this point, I already pre-calculated all the numbers. So in that, when we get to that point of the story or whatever, there's no like you need this. It's just like, okay, this is what's going on. You can try to do this if you roll this. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Okay, I can just roll this number. All right, you didn't do it. Okay, all right, all right, we can go, you know. Um, and I found that that like works really well, especially for, you know, like I said, my kids who, and my wife who, when it's like, let me look this up, they're like, oh gosh, you know, like now it's boring time and whatever, you know.
To be, it sounds like it sounds like recreated index card RPG.
That's kind of, I guess, what it's like. Yeah, I was looking to see if I got one of their sheets here. Hold on, and just scoot over.
Because basically that's the way index card RPG works. It's like you said, okay, the difficulty for this room is 15. Anything you want to do in this room, you have to roll 15 or higher.
Yeah, so basically, let's see. So this is like a typical old school
Yep,
AD&D sheet, if you remember these.
I do.
So
Yep.
then I wrote and printed out like a sheet like this.
That's okay.
Let's
It's like
see.
okay. There you go. All right, that's a lot
So
more.
just
That's a lot
like,
more readable. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's readable. It tells like everything, and it has like all the numbers. Even for the spells, I kind of put like, this is what you need, you know, like kind of like abbreviate, like you said, like probably like in the index card, you know. So, and it makes it like super easy for them to like see and everything, you know. I say on the sheet here, you know, this kind, I'd be like, well, what's your strength? And they're like, what is that one again? You know? So like on here, it's like, you know, it says like, where is it? You know, like strength, intelligence, you know, like right there. So I found that that made it a lot. Once I did this, it made it a lot smoother and everything too. Like the
Hmm.
game itself and
Yeah,
them playing
absolutely,
because they can
absolutely.
like see, you know. Um,
So let's see.
yeah, but that aided it pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure as because removing those roadblocks, it's like it could only take a few seconds, but if you take a few seconds every time you need to do something, it's like it adds up.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it takes longer for me to do. Well, now that I did it with their characters, it's done. But me setting up the game takes longer. But I also realized it's better than the free flow off the top of your head so much. Like I realized like if I have it like completely down. So really, maybe they're not even making any decisions, but they think they're making decisions. You know what I mean?
Hey, as long as they're
You
enjoying the
know,
story.
exactly. Um, that's like the best because then it's just like, okay, yeah, here we go. Um, but even if I have like it set up where it's like, okay, if you're like in a dungeon or something where there's multiple different routes, it's everything I would still have like broken down. So like it's already pre-calculated the end result number.
Okay, so let's see here. Campaign title is saying major Melnibolean rituals sometimes suck the life out of people. Well, not people, since Melnibolean society didn't really consider slaves to be people. Oh, okay. I thought this was just Tuesday. But yeah, good point. And on the charming note, I have to go. It has been fun, but super chill. I watched your okay. Good night, Russ. And
Thanks.
Chris is saying his hack is also like index card RPG if it includes a version of the hard easy number modification. Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, the way that index card RPG works is that everything that happens in this scene has a particular difficulty.
Hmm.
And if you say, okay, you're going to do something, and I tell you, okay, that's going to be easy, the difficulty
Hmm.
number is three lower. If I tell you that's going to be a bit
Oh,
harder,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
three higher. It's a minor tweak on that thing, but it's pretty close to what you were going for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that just shows though that I've learned I like all the rules and everything from that era of D&D. Like I got all the Dark Sun books. I not all physical anymore, but I got them off of Drive Through RPG and stuff. And I like having that level of detail, but those are just kind of I guess like I'm matured into understanding like how to use a source book better and like it's like okay, I don't need to use all this stuff, but like what I'm making now, what's about to happen is that um they're about to like be in the part of this little battle, but my son's character is a gladiator and he has charioteering as like one of his non-proficiencies, um, so because he's a gladiator and imagine the chariot fights and stuff, but in this battle I'm going to have chariots. Then I was like, okay,
Hmm.
well, we're going to take out these like heavy war chariots and he's going to have to drive it and the party's going to fight from the chariot. So I was like, I knew at some point I was like, dang, I know I read somewhere that there's chariot rules because that's what like was in the back of my head to have this.
I'm pretty sure that was in the Glory of Rome source book.
There was, but it's also in the Dark Sun Dragon King's hardback where
Is
they
it?
talk
All
about
right.
the higher levels because they talk about battles, like epic size
Ah,
battles.
okay.
And then they included like these like chariots, like a light chariot and a heavy chariot. So I was like, okay, I found that. And now it's like, how am I going to I found that little bit from that book, and then maybe I'll use other aspects from another book and string it together to make this like kind of like this scene
Nice.
happen. But I'll have to like I know like okay, say for example, they're gonna start now. You need to like you're going in the chariot, and now you're gonna like start to advance. So at this point, have them make the charioteering test, but I'll have the number already. Like okay, roll this number to see if you maintain control of the chariot or something. You know what I mean? But I'll have it like all like
Yeah, planned out. It's like, yeah,
pre-done already. Yeah. But using the modifiers or whatever they have in those source books, on how to do it.
yeah. Again, I mean,
So
I can see that how that would help the flow of the game.
yeah,
Question,
as
question.
opposed to going, you have to make your driving roll -4 for this,
And
plus
then they have
3
this
for
number
this.
and that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that didn't fly. So I had to just pre-calculate all that and be like, this is what you need to roll.
Yeah. To be
Sorry
honest,
for cutting you off.
no, no, no. I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
It's like that's one of the things I don't miss from that system. It's like I'm playing easy d6 mostly, and it's like okay, you need a four. You always roll this die. You need this number. It's very simple. Just
yeah,
if you're good at that, you roll two dice and pick the highest. No problem. It saves so
yeah.
much time.
I know. I'm gonna have to like check it out now.
Question. What pulls the chariots? Because I don't think there were any horses in that setting. Yeah?
No, they have these like they look like tauntauns. There's two things that could drive them. A kank, which is like a giant ant.
All right.
They would just like mount like two these big massive ants that are like the size of a horse, but imagine it's an ant. Or these like erdlu, I think they're called, and they're like kind of like hairless tauntauns, maybe. I
All right.
guess if you think from like a lizard version of a tauntaun, they are like on two legs with short front hands that run.
It's like a safer velociraptor kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. I have the book right here. I think they show like a picture of it. Hold on. Ugh. So I have this like a boot on my foot. So it's from this surgery I had. I was just conveniently I was working on it while we were waiting. So
Ah.
this is the book.
Oops. One second.
Oh,
Oh,
it
there you
went
go.
to that. Yeah, so
Okay, I
this
see
is
it.
the cool book. And here is a picture of the let's see, heavy war chest. There
Ah,
we go.
yep. Okay.
There we go.
Look, they look like
So
small.
that's
They
the
look like dinosaurs, kind of thing.
yeah, little dinosaur things. Yeah, so they're kind of cool. But there's also like a two-person version of it, but all of the people in the party wouldn't be able to fit on it. So I was like, all right, well. And he's like, they're level 8 now, so I figure they're kind of like a little bit have some status and stuff. I have like reoccurring characters too. So in the story, based off the that initial freedom story module, at the end you free the city because they end up killing the king, and so but what happens is that triggers like a regional war. So the army is going, if you play along, follow the modules, you're part of the army that's going out to attack the next city. But I'm having it kind of run parallel, like I'm having them do like kind of like a side quest like that while the army's moving, you know what I mean? So the events are happening around them, but I wanted to make design like cool stuff, on my own and everything. So and that's why I like started, like I said, started the timeline so that there's stuff going on in the world that's like affecting things, and I wanted them to like get that. And I realized that when I played before, that was kind of like an aspect that we never really had, like the idea that um worldly events are happening, even though that you might not be part of them, or even if you are part of them, or even if you are the cause of them, like
Yeah,
like
sometimes
getting
they just
that across. Yeah,
take a course of their own. Yeah.
yeah, and maybe like you complete an adventure and you did some epic thing. Like I remember when we played in our game in high school. It was me, my friend Rich, and our friend Chris was the DM, and we had another guy, Tony, that joined us every now and then. But like Rich was a wizard, and I was a thief, and we did like the most epic thing. I forgot what, but we were like our deeds were so like like grandiose and epic that we were like back at like whatever some other part of like our home city type of thing, and it's like nobody knew that like this whole thing happened, and we were kind of like we'd be famous, or infamous, you know what I mean? There's like we would people like I remember our DM would have like kind of like always like people would be after us or something, and granted like we're only like in seniors in high school and stuff like this. But now when I look back and I'm like, okay, these were the aspects that kind of bothered me. And so I want to fix that with like the game that I'm making for the kids. You know what I mean? I wanted to have that extra little bit of immersiveness that I remember taken me out of the immersion.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like that. I remember that specifically. Like, okay. And even Rich and I talked about it. Like, we would go to the diner after gaming and stuff and be like, yeah, I'm like, freaking them dwarves would be freaking. Dude, I cut a dwarf's beard off. Like, I like grabbed his beard and was like, whoosh. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on. Like every single dwarf would know who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there would probably be drawings of you pasted on every
Yeah,
dwarven house
like
everywhere.
if wherever there were dwarves, they would know. I mean, at least they would like know that I exist, you know. Um,
Yeah, but I
but
also
it,
like,
that
no, no, please go on,
yeah,
go on.
it's just that's the thing, you know. It's just like these types of things. It's like we would do something and it was epic, and then it was kind of like forgot about, you know.
Yeah, that would be super weird. And I also like the thing about events going on regardless of the party.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I mean,
yeah. That's something
it's a big
I
world.
thought too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's like the real world. Like there's
yeah.
stuff going on, you know what I mean? And so I thought that would be an interesting aspect.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of like I liked the storyline of Dark Sun also, so I wanted to keep that into it as opposed to just playing my own, you know, not following the story, just using
Hmm.
the setting
I
and
mean,
making up
it
stuff. I was
helps. I mean,
like,
it's a solid structure.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and it's easy to like you know intermingle. So in that initial story that we ran, a bunch of NPCs were there that they made friends with. So they mainly went with the army, like on that path, but I had them re-meet up together now, and even those NPCs are leveled up some now too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I can
okay.
kind of like play catch up. Like it's like when you see someone you haven't seen in a couple years or whatever, you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I can use them to like so it ties it together still. You know what I mean? Like
I get
they
you.
catch up, like you know, with this is what's going on, and oh, you see the guy, he's now like the general of this, you know. So I don't know, I think it makes it like kind of cool and keeps the world. That was like something I remember too, I guess, like when we played, we never really had like constant like npcs that you would know, and in real life you know people, you know, like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
would,
people hang around you.
yeah, you know. And then like I said, if you haven't seen someone in a bunch of years, you'd be like, oh hey, so I wanted that aspect too, so I thought that that would help aid that they're tied to part of the world and everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if there are no particular characters, there are no consequences from your actions. It's like it feels like disconnected kind of thing. I get what you mean.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then it's like we're just rolling some dice.
Yeah,
You
pretty
know what
much.
I mean? It's like, yeah, let's just like, and then it goes to like one fight to the next fight.
Yeah. So Palpatelier is saying, "Love the chariot. Always found the Dark Sun setting the most evocative among the worlds of D&D. Well, Planescape is up there as well."
Yeah, Planescape. Yeah, a lot of people played Planescape, I guess.
Yeah, it's
That's one I never played though. So, huh.
Planescape is a thing. It's like it's very difficult to explain, but okay, let's put it like this. It's the city of Sigil is basically a place between places. It's supposed to be at the center
Mhm,
of the multiverse. But basically, the special feature of this is that the city is full of portals to literally
mhm,
everywhere, and the
mhm,
portals can open. They're called keys, but they could be anything. So if you walk past, you could be walking past a barrel while whistling something, and that would trigger a portal in the barrel.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
It's very random. It's pretty psychedelic, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds it.
Okay, so
I think wasn't that later though? Also in I think that was like later. I'm trying to remember like our gaming store
I
when the
I
Planescape stuff
think
came out.
I I think it was definitely before. It would have been late 90s.
Yeah.
mid to late 90s, if I remember correctly, because basically they justified the whole changing of rules from one edition to the next.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Uh, the changing of editions was literally something happening in Sigil, and
Mm.
the Lady of Pain, who runs the place, rewrote reality because she didn't like what happened.
Oh.
Okay, Sean is saying Ravenloft and Dark Sun. Yeah, Ravenloft is another great setting.
Yeah, Ravenloft was good too. Yeah. And actually, like another one too was Oriental Adventures. That's kind of like what got me toward like Dark Sun a little bit because I liked that aspect, obviously, like from the sword stuff. So but when then Dark Sun came, it kind of like was like, okay, this is like everything put together that I think is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fantasy Mad Max vibe is just too good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Isa, what do you say we have a look at the community showcase and see what everyone else has thrown in?
Yeah, sure. Is it possible I just step away for a second to use the restroom real quick?
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, just give me. It's right back
Okay,
here. Hold on.
I'll just put on a quick break screen and I'll have a break myself as well.
Okay.
Okay, catch you in a second. We'll be right back, guys. Go. There we are. Okay, so we're going to look at the community showcase. So let's see what everyone else has popped in. Okay, first up, Earthman Brick with a TT Combat. Ooh, that's an MDF
Oh,
kit.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is the way it comes in the box, and this is his
Nice.
pimped up version.
That looks pretty good. I often thought about like getting these for like scenery. but I was always like, I don't know if they'd like look cool painted, but clearly
Definitely.
you've,
If you look up,
yeah, shown that
yeah,
off. Yeah,
Earthman Brick does a lot of these. I think he's also got a bunch of stuff that would be usable for Necromunda and stuff like that. So yeah, if you have a look at his channel, it's definitely going to see a lot of these.
definitely. I'll check it out.
Nice. Okay, this one's from Palpatilian. Okay,
Oh, that's cool.
so yeah, he does a lot of sculpting and uses a lot of these pieces of wood as a base. So it's mostly natural or found materials.
Nice.
So these are all pieces of branches that are marked. This is looking amazing.
Yeah, that is. I like the horns, the pose and everything looks
Oh yeah.
cool. Or tusks, I guess. That's probably what they're supposed to be.
And there are these. It's something that he does in almost all his larger minis, where they have these knot holes or stuff like that
Yeah.
that mesh
Yeah,
in
that's
there,
cool looking.
and
Yeah,
it looks super creepy, but it's really effective.
I agree. Yeah, it does look.
All right. I think it's a different angle of the same one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's
That's what I need to get, like a little the lazy Susan rotating table.
yeah. I keep telling myself I should get one and I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
Again, Martin, this is beautiful work. Okay. All right. So this is from Questboard Terrain. It's part of the challenge we have for December, which is uh, building a one-shot dungeon.
oh nice.
Okay, it doesn't have to be modeled at all. You can model it if you want to, but it just has to be a dungeon designed for one session. Right. So this kind of the structure that she's
What the
making.
design. Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I'm still not sure what's going on here, but I'm 100% certain that egg sandwiches will be involved.
Maybe
So
that weave was that what was wrapped around it then?
it could be, yeah, I guess.
That because see the last picture looks a little
Bulkier than the other one, yeah,
like more
yeah,
round. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, makes sense. So one thing I really like about Chris Bartini's channel is that the videos are mostly showing how the things are put together,
yeah.
but the narration is just telling this story. It's been going on for several videos now.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, it's basically this ongoing D&D campaign.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I mean, she also does some fantastic stop motion, so it's worth having a look.
I'll check it for sure.
Oh, Earthman Brick, you naughty boy. This is awesome. So he's saying that this is a toy bash. I'm not sure what toys he threw in there, but yeah, that looks. Yeah, he also does a lot of orky terrain and buildings and stuff, and
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
whatever
That
this
like fits that.
magnificent thing is.
Yeah,
It's.
yeah,
I'm getting this Metal Slug vibe of it. You remember that arcade game?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks cool. Definitely has like quirkiness and like roboticness. I don't know.
Yeah, you think it could use a gun or two more? I think. Yeah, I think there's space for one more gun
Yeah,
somewhere.
it looks like yeah, It kind of looks like each of those guns, though, like each of the little turrets is like kind of like a rider already. You know what I mean?
A kind of like what?
Don't know. A rider, like a passenger or something.
Ah, yeah, it's like there's someone in
Like,
that turret, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's literally
that's pretty cool.
swarming with goblins, or whatever they call space
Yeah,
goblins these days.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Do you even have goblins? I
Don't
don't
they have
know.
the? They did
Snotlings.
they had snotlings. I think they also had goblins in second Gretchen. I think they call them in second edition.
Oh, Gretchen, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I forgot about them. Yeah, I think they still exist too. Orcs
Okay,
are interesting because they're like grown from like mushrooms,
fungi. Yeah, they're fun guys.
you know. Yeah, so that's an interesting concept in general.
Yeah, especially like that. I really like the way that they were used for comic relief in the earlier editions.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And yeah, snotlings are awesome. Snotlings are
Yeah, like they use them like the snotlings are funny because don't they shoot them from like the guns and stuff too?
yep.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I believe that Steve was also working on one of those. I think I forgot what they were called, but I think in second edition, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't just shoot them. They didn't just propel them out. It's just literally teleporting them into stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot what that. Yeah, I think they did have that gun that did that. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, but it was kind of fun. It's like, oh, we have a tank. Well, enjoy your
Yeah.
tank full of screaming and pooping snotlings now.
Yeah.
Aha, I see that someone got the joke. Okay. Edmund Brick is saying it's called the shock attack gun. All right.
Ah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. The shock attack gun. Yeah. That was so cool looking too. You
Yeah,
could
I
see
mean,
like imagine this like big like electrical thing around it, like charging up and shooting it.
yeah. Thing is that I don't know if it's still the same rules and stuff like that, but I just remember second edition had all these stupid crazy stuff that they took away in third edition. Like you could be like, I have an army. I have a portable black hole.
Yeah. I think like yeah, it's unfortunate that they did get rid of like that kind of that comic aspect somewhat and gone this way of
The
whatever.
grimdark stuff. Yeah.
I'm curious though, like if it exists in um I guess it doesn't exist. Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say maybe like in Necromunda where they can like make it more be like character based and you can add like that quirkiness into it somewhat, but
I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't think the comic that like butt
I
of the joke
no,
thing
I
is
think
in it.
it was Necromunda was also always more grimdark kind of thing, more serious.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more humor in more time that I remember, and it's not even the same kind of humor, but it was still had this very dark humor in it.
Mm.
But I guess it was a question of changing times because most of that humor was written into it in the 80s.
Yeah.
Things changed.
Yeah, true. And it was like you see the 80s influence in it originally
No
with
kidding.
like the glam and everything. um so yeah, I guess once it moved on and the left the 80s, then
Oh yeah, I
the
see that
90s were darker.
loosely collected is saying you should have to head to Gorka Morka. That game was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a fun game for sure. um that was kind of like the Mad Max of the orcs. Remember, you can have like the ramp, like
Yeah.
you'd have to have like two cart. cars, and you'd have the ramp drop onto the other one, and you'd have to like run across it. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, good times.
And you would think like that type of stuff, I guess, they can make it in like a White Dwarf or something like simplified rules where you could use those orc cars they have now, because the cars the orcs they made for the orcs like maybe like 2 years ago. I don't know
Mhm.
how long ago it was, but it seems relatively new. They look freaking awesome. so so like why don't they have just like in a White Dwarf put out like orc car racing, or or
I
I
think,
don't know what, but
to be honest, I think that's how Gorka Morka started. It was like literally just
yeah,
articles in. Same with Battlefield, Gothic, if I remember correctly.
yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, and then you get a game. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
think like in with regards to Games Workshop, for me, like with 40K, the most detrimental thing about it, I think, is they've gone to this idea where they have to release a new edition, like a 3-year cycle. So
Mhm.
I think that the turnaround should be like 5 years for an edition at least,
At least, yeah, at least.
because yeah, um, like what happened last time, uh, they released the new edition this summer, but the last codex for the previous edition they released like last December. So they had like a 6 month period to play. And that was like World Eaters. So they made all these new models and everything. And you had like 6 months to play with it. And then like the edition ends. So that codex is,
Yeah, pretty much
completely like, yeah,
redundant, right out
because
the
they
gate. Yeah.
changed. Yeah. And in this edition, they did like a reset of the rules. Whereas previously you would keep your previous codex, into the next edition because the rules look kind of
Mhm.
all like still fit together. But this last time they did like a hard reset, so those people just got totally screwed.
Yeah, I also don't like how I mean the direction basically seems to sell more books because I think at one point they were doing like seasons. It's like,
Yeah, I
hey
think
guys,
they
guys,
still do that. Yeah.
you are selling books. They're not television shows. They're not movies. They
Yeah.
Once you buy the book is yours. You play with the book. You do what you like with the book. The book does not expire.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what that's part of their gaming model is like, um that's normally when the edition's going to end, then they'll put out like the books like the year prior. It'll be like a series of like 3 books or something where it's like, okay, this is book number one of the campaign or whatever, and then you get extra rules and stuff for your army. I think they just focus a lot on like tournament play too now. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
kind
guess.
of like the runners of like what is and what's not. And
Yeah, I
maybe
guess
that's like the newer kids that play.
newer
That's how they are,
kids
you know.
definitely, and yeah, thing about campaign players, sorry, tournament players is that like tournament players will always chase the whatever makes them win, so that they will be buying more stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, like you could
And
always
if you manipulate the rules to your advantage in that, which is, they say that, these models aren't selling, so let's just make the rules for them be the new thing,
yeah.
and then people will buy them, so
So chase the
maybe
money.
that,
You always find an answer there.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, okay. It's getting a bit late here, so Isa, I think we should be wrapping up this stream up anytime
Yeah,
now.
no problem.
It's been a
Yeah, for
pleasure talking
sure.
to you, man.
Yeah, it was a good time, and thanks for everybody who like came in and listened, and whoever will check it out later. Thanks for checking it out.
Okay,
It was a great time.
we'll definitely need to have you back to talk about your Necromunda terrain when you get around to it. But we will definitely have
Yeah,
you on the I believe it is it the 7th December?
I think so. I don't remember, but
Ah, okay, sorry, it's the
whatever we
third
said
of
it was.
December. The 3rd of December.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Isa will be back with another friend of ours, Frank. And we'll be talking all about your new martial arts club.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
swords if you're
We
into
get to talk
swords
swords.
and that type of stuff. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So yeah, until then, thanks for checking us out and thanks for hanging out.
Okay, and thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week with Runehammer. Okay, have a lovely, lovely week, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.